Hello, my name is Mary Miele. I am a tutor, a teacher, a parent, and the founder of Evolved Education Company. We are a full-service tutoring and advisement company for all of your educational solutions. On this podcast, we'll explore ideas, techniques, and resources that you can use to support your school-aged child to conquer any learning issue. I'm so glad you're here.
Hello, everyone. How are you today? I am recording this podcast in transit. I am at my son's parent weekend at his school where he is in high school, and we've been going through his parents' conferences, and I'm having such a great time learning about how he's doing. And I'm using all of the information that we worked through in this past week's workshop that we did with parents to prepare them for the parent-teacher conferences. I used myself with my parent conferences for this time and with my daughter earlier last week. So I'm feeling really good because I do feel really informed. I feel as though we're working on some things that are really going to make some transformational change within my children's lives as learners. And I'm really taking all of this and helping you all to do the exact same thing within your parenting. And, as I do this podcast every week, I'm delving into concepts that my clients are bringing to my attention in terms of answering emails over at our hello@evolveded.com email. And recently I have a lot of chatter about children who are in schools, and when they go to parent conferences, there's a lot of emotion that comes up, especially when parents are blindsided with information from their parent-teacher conference and overwhelmed maybe even from the information that they're receiving in their parent conferences. Because sometimes teachers will save all of that feedback for the parent conference. And although it has been information that, the students and teachers are gathering throughout the period of a couple of months, you as parents might just be receiving this for the first time, and it can be very overwhelming. So I want to just delve into that today because I have been in that seat before where I've been at a meeting and my husband and I have turned to each other and been overwhelmed with how much information we're receiving for the first time. And also we've left the meeting really in a state of overwhelm, and we've also argued, and we've also been in the muck of the aftermath of that kind of situation. So let me just paint this. I want you to walk on this journey with me a little bit, just so in case it hasn't happened to you or in case you're in it, I just want to be clear about what I'm talking about. So let's say you're a parent of a fourth grade student and you go into the conference, and from your side of things, everything seems to have been, working pretty well. Your child's pretty happy to go to school, and you're, certainly working on helping your child with their homework a little bit, but it seems like everything's going well from your end. So you get into the parent conference and the teacher alludes to the fact that some of the skills that they're teaching have been difficult for your child to attain, and that there's some concern about some social emotional pieces. And maybe there's also a wonder about whether we should be doing some testing and figuring out of what is going on with your child. And all of a sudden your whole world just gets turned around because now you're facing this amazing amount of information that you really did not anticipate having. And I never want parents to be in this, which is why we did the workshop this past week, because I believe there are steps you can take proactively to never be in a position of being blindsided by a parent-teacher conference I never want my parents to be in this particular situation, ever. But if you are in this situation, then there are some steps you can take to ensure your success through it. So if you just had a parent conference and all of a sudden there are 3 to 4 different concerns being brought to your attention, and maybe also we should investigate this a little bit further. Maybe we should have some testing done. And you don't even know what that means. You're left saying, I don't even know what the plan is here. Then I want you to go through these steps. First of all, I want you and your co-parent to take a little bit of time away from your family. If that means a dinner, if that means taking a little bit of time before you go to bed one night, whatever it is, I want you to sit down and I want you to actually write down, one of you write down, even if it's an email back and forth, go ahead and email, back and forth if you want to. You can get down what you took from the conference. So this is what I took from the conference. This is what I know we are dealing with. And you want to cross-check it back to the teacher, because oftentimes when we're in that moment of receiving so much information about our child, we can misinterpret. We can hear something that isn't, etc. So write down what you really heard and go and cross-check it with the teacher. Just get the facts down straight is what I'm trying to say. Once you get the facts down, then I want you to do a full interview. I want you to go through the workshop that I gave. That's still available. You can still go to the Instagram, link in bio. You can register. You can get all of the materials and the video that basically teaches you how to do it. And I want you to go through those steps because I want to make sure you're not missing anything else at this very moment in time. Because as we know, sometimes when there's an issue our children are having, it's not maybe that issue that they're having, it's something else. And I'll give you an example of that. So a client of mine right now called because the child isn't redoing the tests that they give in the school. And it was the choice of the child not to redo the tests. And that was something that the parent really wanted the child to be doing because it's an opportunity to boost a grade. And she doesn't understand why he's not taking the opportunity to retake his exams if he has that opportunity to boost up his grade. And he's saying, well, that's ridiculous. I took the test. It is what it is. I'll learn it later. I'm not going back and retaking the test. So there was a lot of argument back and forth. And it wasn't, at the end of the day, it wasn't really about just retaking the test. It was about this child's perception of how you should be a student. And we just had to redefine the rules of the game for him so that he could understand that at his particular school, those rules are set differently than what he had in his mind. And once we clarified that with him, everything kind of changed and worked out in the favor of what the parent wanted, but also the student received the opportunity to boost his grades and his performance. So sometimes it's not the actual issue at hand that we're dealing with that we need to address. It's maybe an underlying condition or something else at play that's the solution to the issue, right? So you just want to go through everything and make sure you're not missing something. So go through and do the interview, gather the information that I'm asking of you in that particular course. And once you do that and you have the facts, that's what I want you to have. I want you to have all of the facts in front of you. Then you can start to decide what your course of action should be and what you should be doing in order to best serve your child in this particular area. So oftentimes, I want you just to think about this. Children cannot be working on 5 or 6 different major issues at a time. We want to make sure we simplify their ability to improve and learn so that maybe, for example, they're not going to 4 different specialists in a week. Maybe we can simplify it and create one role for that specialist to be supporting your child and tackle some of the areas of concern within other areas, if that makes sense. So there's some problem solving that needs to happen most likely when you're really overwhelmed with a parent conference. And this is, of course, what we do with our families in those consultations is we'll help you to figure out, well, okay, now that we have all of this information, what is it that you're going to do with it? And how are you going to go about it? And one thing I know for sure is the way you go about it is going to be different than the way I will personally go about it. But that's okay. And that is the beauty of educational consulting and planning is that the way in which we solve problems within education is very bespoke. And we make sure to do it in a way that is for you and your child. And what the answer is for one family isn't going to be the answer for another. And I'll give you an example. I know when I was going through my own parenting issues and challenges with my oldest child, I remember thinking to myself how overwhelmed I was. And I ended up doing what I teach now, which is to literally write down all of the facts. And then I decided to solve literally every problem that came my way. And I wrote out a solution for each and every area that I was really challenged by, including parenting my own child. I didn't know how to parent him based on what I was dealing with. And so we got support for that. And I know that some families may not want to action their plan in that same way. And that's okay. It's really about whatever's comfortable for you, but I'm going to present to you all of the options. I'm going to present to you all of the ideas. And sometimes the ideas even come as we're talking, because I will be talking with a family and I learn something that's important to them. And I say to them, hey, you know what? What if it wasn't this? What if it was this? What if the solution lies within your ability to do it your way? And that's the fun stuff, right? Like that's when we really get to a place of thriving as a family who's parenting school-age children. Because if it's in contrast to how you move and work in the world, then it's probably not going to work. So I have a family right now who's just really, really, really into high-end education, like very, very wants everything done at the top level. It's so important to them that they understand that whatever they're doing with their children is education forward, is the latest research, is the evidence-based approach, is at the highest possible level. And they were looking into math support, and they were looking into a program that is fine. There's nothing necessarily wrong with this particular program, but I just knew it wasn't going to deliver the kind of support that really they were interested in having, and that really spoke to them, that motivated them, that made them feel as though they were working towards what they wanted for their family and their child. And I just pointed that out. I said, hey, you know what? I hear what you're saying. I think this schedule could work. I think this program could work. It could solve something here, but I don't know that that's really what you want as a family. And I just want to make sure we're thinking about this as you move forward. And they were so appreciative of that moment, because I think they figured out that it wasn't really what they were wanting in the end, and it allowed them to create a solution that was really a fit for their family. And I think that's what this is all about. And I'm just so, I love learning about my clients, and I love, the fact that a lot of them have various cultural pieces. Right now, I'm speaking with families literally from all over the world. And what that causes me to do in the consultation piece is I have to learn about the culture. I have to learn about what it is that is driving this family, and what is their philosophy around education. What is their experience? What are the resources that are available to them in their particular area? And from all of that, we can then create customized solutions to various issues that are happening. But it's really not a one size fits all answer. And that is, I think, very, very, very important for everyone to know. So I want to get back a little bit to the purpose of today's podcast, which was to give you some tools in your toolbox to use in case you get to one of those parent-teacher conferences where you're overwhelmed. And again, I want to go back to a couple of key steps I talked about. Number one is I want you to write down the facts that you're dealing with. So that whatever the teacher has told you, I want you to write them down. Then I want you to go and do the work that we've taught in the workshop, which involves interviewing your child and really understanding what your child could be doing at this particular age in their learning, because we have a lot of checklists in there, and we have different milestones for each grade that you can cross-reference. So get a sense of where what's appropriate and also what your child's perception is and what the teacher is saying. We're going to put all of those facts down on the table, and then we're going to make a plan that's going to take into account your family's philosophy, your child's schedule, your child's temperament, your child's preferences. All of these things need to be accounted for educational solutions to really make an impact on the issues that your family may be experiencing. And the other thing I just want to point out here is that, schools are so different right now. And what is expected of a child in a third grade program in school A is vastly different than what's expected in a child's program in school B. And in that way, sometimes what the solution really is to make a school change. Because in that way, maybe what your child is experiencing as a quote unquote issue in one school is actually celebrated in another school. And there's nothing that your child needs to do. So I just want to pose all of that to you as well as you think about this. I hope today was helpful. Please continue to write to me. I love hearing from you. I love hearing your questions. I love hearing your ideas. I want to continue to dialogue with you and share ideas and solutions with you that are very bespoke and helpful. I'm excited. We're going to be having our next workshop next month. It's in November. It's all about the higher educational planning. So if you're interested in attending that, I would say please come if you have an 8th grader or a 9th grader or a 10th grader, because this is going to be really, really for those age groups. And I'll be talking about that more in next week's podcast. Okay. I'll see you then.
Thank you so much for listening to Evolved Education. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and write a review. You can send us any and all educational questions to hello@evolveded.com, and we'll try to address it in our upcoming episodes. That's evolveded, evolveded.com. To learn more about how we can support you, go to evolveded.com and book a complimentary 15-minute phone call with us. Are you a professional educator? You can join our teaching school membership platform to gain support and engage in a community interested in learning together. Click on the link in our show notes to learn more.